Right, as well as copies of the agenda. Okay. Now, we are moving into the business portion of our agenda. And at this time, all the consent agenda. Thank you, Tracy. You know, sometimes when people just say something quietly to me up here, it's just because I just made a little mistake and they want to help me out, so I do appreciate that. We have minutes from September, corrected, and October, and that's it in the consent agenda. No personnel recommendations. I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Move we approve the consent agenda.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion about approving the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Now we'll go to the business agenda. We have two items here. We have a new policy that's under second reading, and as you will all remember, this is a policy that we have received. It's kind of out of sequence on our policy review, but that's because it's a response to a piece of legislation that was passed pretty recently, and we need to get the policy on the board. So I'm going to ask who is going to speak to this one?
Both of us.
Okay.
I'll let Rich talk a little bit about the policy itself, and then I'll talk about the letter that I wrote and the course correction.
Just to reiterate what the conversation last month, and that this is a new required policy through the legislation passed in July regarding sexual conduct of staff with students. It's basically to target those grooming type behaviors that would not rise to the level of a report or an investigation by DHS, but behaviors that we would find very uncomfortable. And bottom line, it's a policy that has been mandated to us based on a few people being passed around the state. And now we're all reaping the benefit of needing to follow some new procedures and policies.
If you'll take a look at the policy itself, page 2 of the policy. You look down in the left-hand corner of the policy, you see a number of notations there. It starts with the letter R. Those of you that are on the policy committee will remember that those are required adopted policies that we are required to adopt to address legislation or some other rules. So it is a required policy. But because we do believe that there was some ambiguity and being kind of left for us to come up with some details about how to implement this, the board did ask me to develop a letter. And for the record, I'd like to read that letter that I sent to Superintendent Susan Castillo. Dear Superintendent Castillo, the Oregon legislature has required the Oregon school districts to address new reporting requirements regarding sexual conduct for students. As is our customary process, the Central School District worked with the OSBA to adopt a new policy which addresses these new requirements. The Central School District Board of Directors, in reviewing the new policy, expressed concern about the vagueness of the new law. Specifically, the term sexual conduct is defined by Oregon law as any verbal or physical or other conduct by a school employee that is sexual in nature, directed toward a kindergarten through 12th grade student, unreasonably interferes with the student's educational performance, and creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive educational environment. The definition for sexual conduct does not include behavior that would be considered child abuse as outlined by Oregon law and school district policy in JHFE and JHFE-AR reporting suspected child abuse. A key challenge for local school districts is how to explain this new definition of sexual conduct. The Central School District Board of Directors asserts that it would seem appropriate for the Superintendent of Public Instruction to come up with a unified position on how this is to be interpreted across the state. As a local district superintendent, I understand that developing policies that are strong arguments for the use of language which indicates an outcome without specifying exactly what is required to accomplish the intended outcome. However, I agree with the Central School District Board of Directors and urge you to help local districts by providing much more definitive and unified statewide details about how this new law expects what this new law expects of local educators. The definition for sexual conduct is so broad and open to subjective interpretation. It requires clarification. So we do our part in the Central School District to develop an administrative regulation to respond to this new law. However, Central School District Board of Directors urges the ODE under your direction to provide statewide unified guidance in this process. I would be happy to discuss this with you further or help in this process on behalf of the Central School District Board of Directors.
Good. Have we heard anything back?
No, ma'am. I doubt we will.
Do board members have any questions either about the policy itself or about the letter? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would accept a motion to accept the policy on a second reading. Okay, is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept this policy, number JHFF, on a second reading, and it will then come back for adoption next meeting. Is there any discussion on that?
I appreciate the definition up here, even though it's still very broad, it's much more defined than what our last reading was.
Thanks for your work on this. Okay, all those in favor of accepting this for a second reading, please raise your right hand. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Okay, next item of business is the appointment to the Zone 1 Board seat. This is to fill the seat that was vacated by Betty in September. We have 5 candidates tonight, and 4 of these individuals actually live in Zone 1. So by policy, we must appoint someone who lives in the zone unless no one from the zone applies. In this case, we have 4 people in the zone who applied. I'm going to invite each applicant to come to the microphone and to speak to the board. You all have seen their materials in your packet. I'm going to do it in alphabetical order by last name, okay, so that we're being very fair here. And then I will open the floor for nominations. So, Mr. Preston Baxter, would you like to come and speak to the board?